Joined by Penn State women's volleyball assistant coach Steve Aird. Well, Coach, great to have you back in town. What brought you back to Penn State?
Well, I think when I left in 2008, I thought long-term goals. I'd always wanted to come back and be here. Not necessarily coach college, but if I was going to coach college again, it would be here. And an opportunity arose, and here I am.
Your thoughts so far? How have things gone from a coaching perspective, and your early thoughts on the team? Obviously, you haven't had a chance to work with them much, but what do you think?
Sure. Well, I got back at the start of the spring, and it was important for Coach Rose that I came back in and got some time early with them so I could see how they were. In terms of the transition back into State College, it was easy. I was lucky enough to play here. My wife and I had been here for a couple years in 2007, 2008, and it's a town and a community that I've always been really in love with. So the transition has been good. The players and the team, they've been fantastic. Not only receptive, but committed, dedicated. I think they understand after the great run that they had that it's important that they have a big preseason. A disappointing finish last year, as funny as that might sound, with a Sweet 16 appearance. But the opportunity to get back to be relevant nationally and be in the top few teams and have a chance to win at the end of the year, I think is what's got them hungry. And working with them daily is a pleasure.
Going off of that, you have Stanford and Texas on your home floor early in the season. Number one, why is that important to play teams like that early? And number two, is it a barometer for the girls to see where they're at?
Sure, barometer, no question. I think early in the year, the goal is to be the best team at the end of the year, and your body of work during the year puts you in a position. Certainly, our conference puts us in a position to play against some of the best teams in the country, week in and week out. But I think Coach Rose's philosophy, and one that I would share, is I want to play the best teams in the country as much as possible. So we're lucky enough to have that opportunity. We've got such fantastic support from our administration to put things like this together, and I think the opportunity to see some incredible teams early and play at a really high level will be nothing but good for a young team as we keep going through the year.
For you personally, what will your role on the staff be?
I think that's to be determined. I think I've been fortunate to be around Coach since 1997. And he knows me very, very well. I think when I came back, he knew exactly what he was getting with me, and I knew exactly what I was getting with him. Adam and I have known each other for a number of years. This will be the first time that I've been able to work with Kalina on a staff. So I think our roles are going to evolve. I think we'll get better and better as we get more time together. But so much of what makes Coach Rose incredible is he'll find our strengths and he'll say, hey, this is probably where you need to be spending the majority of your time, and we'll lean on his experience and try to do the best job we can. In
your eyes, what does the history and tradition of Penn State volleyball mean?
Well, the front end of it is what's incredible is what Russ has been able to do. I spent a lot of time with him. He tells me about the stories early when, from the Atlantic 10 days, when they were packing the team in a minivan and making all these trips to where they are now and it being a brand. I mean, when you talk about Penn State volleyball nationally and internationally, people know what it is. It's synonymous with excellence in what we do, and he's always done it the right way. I think the program is a very high character program. We recruit and attract young women who want to be here, who want to compete and be the very best they can be. And so the tradition is something we're very proud of. I'm honored to be part of it and work really, really hard to make sure we maintain that level, because it's such an important part of the fabric of not only this athletic department, but I think the school.
What are your expectations for the student athletes on a daily basis, and then for the season in the fall?
Sure. My goal personally as a coach, I think, and with everyone on the roster, and it doesn't matter to me if they're the starting middle blocker or a backup defensive specialist. My goal is to make everyone better, or to help aid them to become better. So if I can help everyone get 5 or 10% better, I think that high tide rises all ships, and the more competitive the practice environment can be, the better we're going to be come the end of the year. So I think training is trust. I think they have to know that I'm all in, and from my body of work and them knowing my history personally, and being back in State College, I think they know it's a place I care about very deeply. And so each of them know, and I hope they know after the spring, that my goal is to have them or help them have an incredible experience where they get the most out of their time at Penn State and become, great people in the community, good students, and fantastic players.
You touched on practice and practicing hard and intense. How do you teach that?
I'm not sure you do. I think that our job as coaches is to find and attract the kind of player when we say, hey, we're going to be very honest. We're going to work you harder maybe than you've ever been worked. And typically if their eyes light up a little bit and then it's in them, we can sense that very quickly. So the culture of the kind of people we bring in and we want to be around are people who work very hard and are diligent and want to be the best they can possibly be. And if you have as many people like that in the gym together with a staff that's wired like we are, typically good things happen.
Looking ahead to the fall, what's the most important thing that you think needs to happen in order to have a successful season?
I think team chemistry. I think I thought as a player when I played here at Penn State that the players decide matches. As a coach now on the other side of it, I still think players decide matches. So what they're willing to do to sacrifice, how committed they're going to be, how hard they work during the summer when we can't be around them, how much time and energy they put every single day into becoming great, not just good, will determine how their season goes. We can steer them. It's kind of like a rudder on a boat. We can steer them and say, hey, this is some things you guys really need to understand. And I think Russ is, again, incredible at saying this is what we need to focus on. At the end of the day, it's going to be their decision whether it's the most important thing for them. And my sense is they're getting closer and closer to that.
What's the biggest challenge you've faced so far?
I don't know if there's been a challenge. I think because I'd been on staff before, I think because the kids I really like being around the group. I think, I injected maybe a fresh kind of energy in the group in the spring. And I think sometimes as a player, when someone new comes from outside the program and says, hey, you're kind of special, you've got it in you. And you just have to believe in yourself and believe in the group. I mean, whenever I see the kids, no matter where we are, I tell them, we're going to make a run at this thing. And I want them to believe, I want them to know that I think they have that in them. So challenges, not so many. I think we don't have a lot of time come August in the preseason to get them ready and get them dialed into what we need. But as long as they do the things outside the court that I think are gonna matter, I think we're gonna have a pretty good year.
You touched on the schedule a little bit. Talk about the schedule from the July 1st through the beginning of practice and then on into the season. What types of things do you need to get done? What are you allowed to do?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the NCAA rules during the summer, we don't see the kids. They work out with the strength coaches. We might see them here and there at camps. August 7th, I think we start the preseason stuff. And once we get into preseason, I think how quickly they can start to learn. And for a bunch of the roster, they were here last year. I mean, we return a lot of players, and we will again the following year. I think how quickly this current roster with the incoming freshmen understand the systems, understand the concepts. And for us, it's not hard. I mean, we're not a lot of flash. We want to keep the game simple. We want them to play as hard as they can possibly play and train every day really, really hard. Going into preseason, we'll go real hard for a few weeks, start to taper a little bit before our first tournament in Louisville, and go to where they're going to be hosting the Final Four in December. So I think we want them to be in that environment, see what it'll look like, put that picture in their head, have a really tough tournament here with the Nike Big Four, some more preseason action in Chicago, a home tournament, and then we open with Nebraska at home for the Big Ten schedule. Big Ten as a conference is fantastic. Hope we put ourselves in a position to be good and get a good seeding, hopefully for the NCAA tournament, and then hope we're healthy and rested and ready to go.
Finally, you're an alum. You played here. What does this opportunity mean to you?
Everything. The opportunity means everything. My wife and I moved back from California. I had a lot of opportunities. I've been contacted by a lot of people across the country to coach. If I'm going to coach college, I'm coaching college here. And when a recruit comes to campus or I talk to people in airports, it's easy for me to tell them, listen, it's the best volleyball program in the country. And it's a place that not only has incredible people, but the support, the booster club. For me, it's working with a legend and a good friend that I keep learning. So I'm a really fortunate guy. I'm very lucky to be here, and the opportunity means everything.
Steve, enjoy the rest of the summer.
Thanks,
and
man.
best of luck. Thanks for your time.